Welcome to Future Fuel. I am Jean Chow, investment principal at Future Energy Ventures, and today we will be talking about SOLshare, one of Future Energy Ventures' portfolio companies and a leader in peer-to-peer renewable energy trading. SOLshare is quite unique within our portfolio in its focus on off-grid energy systems in emerging markets, and the SOLshare team is based in Bangladesh. For this conversation, I'd like to introduce Sebastian Groh, Managing Director at SOLshare. Welcome, Sebastian.
Hi, Eugene. How are you doing?
Great, thanks. How are you doing?
All good so far. All good so far. Let's see how this goes today.
Yeah, great. So to begin, could you tell us about what opportunities and challenges you saw in the energy landscape that served as the inspiration for launching SOLshare?
I think you just said SOLshare is unique in the portfolio of Future Energy Ventures. And I think what I saw here in the energy landscape in Bangladesh was also a very uniqueness. It was actually less of a challenge, what you would expect developing country challenges, but it was more curiosity, because back in 2014, when I came the first time to Bangladesh, I came from Germany, where I'm originally from, and I remember quite well in Germany back then, we had about 2 million solar rooftop systems, and in Bangladesh it was 4. So it was twice as many. The whole world knew Germany as the Energiewende, the energy transition or transformation pioneer. And then here comes Bangladesh, which everybody only knows as the flooded country, victim of climate change, and had twice as many solar home systems. So I was like, hang on, something doesn't add up here in the story of the victim and the pioneer. Let me find out a little bit more. That was really the impetus why I came back in 2014 here out of curiosity. I came as a student. I came to learn as part of my PhD. And to really see, why are there so many solar home systems? Why is this working in a country where people are supposed to have very little affordability? And solar 2014, as you recall, was known as very, very expensive energy source. So it's kind of contradiction.
Great. So let's dive in then to SOLshare's solution. So how does SOLshare seek to address both the opportunity that you laid out in having more solar rooftops in Bangladesh than in Germany, but also what are the challenges, what are the opportunities that you're trying to improve?
I think early on, what I realized in that research, and I think which I would still 100% stick to today, is that this notion that poor people need cheap products is fundamentally wrong. So what we found here was one of the success factors was that poor people need high quality products, which are made to last and made affordable. And I think this is a key difference. So what happened back then is someone very smart here decided that those solar home systems should have very expensive industrial standard tubular cell batteries, which nobody would imagine to put those into a local village hut, such an expensive battery. But the battery came with 5-year warranty, and that's how the system works. So at SOLshare, we basically doubled down on that and really developed a smart meter, which would allow solar home system owners and non-owners to start trading electricity. Because what we saw is that at times, people would have full batteries at 3-4 p.m. Basically, all of them were full. There were still a couple of hours of sunshine, and the energy would go completely wasted. So this is basically the idea, typical sharing economy approach, where you say, okay, can I tap into this underutilized asset, and can I make it available? In our case, it was $1 billion we calculated, which went completely unused every year. So we built this peer-to-peer grid, something which, again, people would argue is kind of this super innovative thing which should happen in Silicon Valley or, in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn grid, which came actually only a couple months after our grid. But the world's first solar peer-to-peer grid, we installed here in Bangladesh, and I think that was quite remarkable.
Absolutely. And I think all the more important, as you've mentioned in the past, because that wasted energy wasn't just wasted energy, but it was energy that could have gone to someone else within the community, within the neighborhood that didn't have access to a fridge or to a fan or to lighting. And so all the more valuable really for a lot of your customers. So maybe if you could tell us a bit about your early projects or some of the most exciting outcomes or impacts you've had within your customers and your projects so far.
Sure, sure. And I think you hit it here on the nail, really, Eugene. It's giving a couple of kilowatt hours to someone who otherwise has nothing has a gigantic impact, because that means someone who has a mobile phone suddenly has a possibility to charge it. Before, that person also had a phone, but he would need to, or she would need to give it to the neighbor to charge, which is super inconvenient and super expensive, by the way. We found people giving their phones to their neighbors, charging it with a diesel generator, and have to pay, let's say, $5-6 per charge. If you think about a simple phone, how many amp hours go in there? The kilowatt hour tariff would be somewhere $6, $7, $8 per kilowatt hour. Crazy. So huge impact, because this incremental level of more energy can really make a change. And then the whole idea, what you already said, if you put multiple systems together, they become more powerful. It's like this 1 + 1 makes 3. Not only that you make unused energy now useful to people who really, really need it, it's also you can power more powerful appliances and so forth. So we've done that. We've scaled it over the years from one grid, which we started back in 2015, to today, almost 120 grids in every division of the country. But we also ran into multiple challenges. Chief among them, that this notion that there is an integrated electrification pathway, which is a really fancy term, which basically argues that in planning of your energy policy, you should consider different pathways, meaning a national grid extension, possibly decentralized energy like solar home systems through mini grids, different versions. That unfortunately didn't happen, and we saw that the grid extension was the preferred mode of electrification for the government. And so we took that and we said, okay, that means for us that our total addressable market is shrinking, because more and more it's taken over by the government as its mandate to provide their population with electricity. So what we said, okay, we played a very important role to basically bridge that time until the people got access to electricity. Now that we have some very recent pilots where we interconnect basically our peer-to-peer grid with the national grid, so that the people who already have those solar home systems, so today there are 6 million solar home systems. You don't want to get 6 million solar homes and become obsolete, because those are 6 million batteries and 6 million PV panels. We're trying to, how can we make those use and feed it into the grid? That is, I think that's one thing which is really interesting, where we come up with a community power purchasing agreement, like a CPPA. I think we still have to put our trademark on that one. And yeah, very, very exciting things, because in a way it is taking this merger of centralized national grid and decentralized assets, how to bridge those together, how to combine them. I think that's the question, that's the future of energy question, which the whole world has to answer. So it's very interesting that we are often here at the forefront of those, trying to find those answers in a very different setting, but yet the answers, I think, will look strikingly similar.
Absolutely. I think those are also the key challenges that a lot of the other companies within our portfolio are facing in thinking about the integration of EVs or heat pumps or other electrical equipment onto the grid, and how we expand that potential. So it sounds like you've been really prolific within Bangladesh, installing over 120 grids already, and I think your impact has certainly not gone unnoticed. Congratulations again to the whole SOLshare team on winning the Zayed Sustainability Prize earlier this year and being selected as one of the finalists in Prince William's Earthshot Prize. These are really impressive and inspirational achievements, and I've no doubt there are more to come in the pipeline. But I guess, can you tell us about how those awards and how those prizes have maybe changed your approach to how to deliver on the vision, and what that really means for you and the company?
Yeah. I think the most challenging thing is with these prizes is meeting the other finalists, because the people who are in these finals, social entrepreneurs who fight this, the climate fight, energy poverty fight, and the combination of the two, which is probably the most challenging. I mean, we're all in it with a lot of passion, with a lot of heart, and you can feel that in the conversation. And those finalists are all really excellent. So the moment you win, this is obviously boom. It's a huge kind of confirmation of all the blood you put in, of all the work the team has done, and so forth. But very quickly you realize, okay, if I won, that means that guy didn't win, and didn't I just have the organization? How awesome his or her impact is, and then I mean the responsibility grows, because then you realize, okay, I just tried sustainability, right? $600,000. That's a lot of money. So now $600,000, you wanna be super careful to use that money really well, because if you hadn't won it, this other guy would have won it, and she, what she said she would do with it, and that kind of sets the benchmark, right? So I think the responsibility really grows. Winning an international prize is, especially here, we took the decision here at SOLshare that everybody who works for SOLshare full time has to stay in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, and that has been a conscious decision. I think we fared really well with it, in the sense of that the team really bonded, and it's really close, and we don't have this, okay, but that person gets that salary because he or she's living in Berlin or whatnot. So that doesn't exist. That's really good. But that also meant that we lost a few people, and I think we got really good people here locally. And then if you win an international award, it's kind of always you're waving the flag, right? Waving the flag of Bangladesh, and it becomes also a national thing. So the team is super proud, and rightfully so. I think I said it in the beginning, in the first question. If you consider the country being one of the victims in terms of country most vulnerable to climate change, and yet you're getting this award of being a pioneer in fighting climate change, I think that's really astonishing, and that's something we can really be proud of here.
Absolutely. Great. And so to wrap out our Future Fuel conversation, can you tell us a bit about what you're working on at the moment, what's in the pipeline, and what is SOLshare's vision for the future?
Yeah, I mean, apart from the grid connection, which I think is really exciting, is something else which you already, I think, hinted to, is EVs. And another interesting thing, I checked it before the conversation. Tesla has almost sold 2 million EVs now globally, and Bangladesh has just crossed having 2 million vehicles running around, which meaning already, being as taxis, being the backbone of the transportation sector. So in Bangladesh alone, there are more EVs than Tesla has sold globally. And that's our next front where we are tackling into, because again, and I'm coming back to the beginning of the talk, poor people need high quality products. Now, those 2 million EVs don't look like Tesla. They're electric three-wheelers, and they run on lead acid batteries, which is a really bad idea, because those batteries are great for stationary usage, but really poor for mobility use, which means these 5 years, which was so great in solar homes, is not true in this use case. The people suffer because they invest in those batteries. The moment they pay them back, the batteries break, which is after 9 to 15 months if you're lucky. So we're now coming again, and we're bringing in lithium batteries, putting smartness in those lithium batteries, meaning making them pay as you go, being able to predict health, being able to remotely control them, which means making them financeable. And that's again the notion. If a battery is twice as expensive but lasts 4 times longer, it's only a financing game. And a financing game only works if the financier is confident to finance the asset. And we're basically providing this confidence because we can control the asset, we can predict the health, we can see how much revenue that asset brings in. And the results so far are very encouraging. The drivers make about 25% additional profit per day, which is huge. It's gigantic. It changes a lot of things for such a driver. They make like $10. Now they're making like $12, $13. Sounds like peanuts for a US context. Is a hell of a difference here in terms of what that means for your livelihood, what it means for the education of your kids, for your ability to feed your family and so forth. A huge impact. There are 25,000 garages. A garage here is a charging station where you fix your vehicle and you leave it overnight and get it charged. That electricity cost, which is the main expense, goes down by 40%. Tremendous impact again. So I think we are really onto something. 2 million batteries, 2 million vehicles means 2 million batteries, 30% year-on-year growth. This is really something I think where we managed to take a technology we had to develop and put it to this use case, which is really very strong, really up and coming. And then controlling those batteries, putting PV on those garages, we'll have a gigantic virtual power plant. And again, we're talking about Bangladesh, kind of predicting the future of energy and toying around with that. And I think we're at the forefront here, and it's really, really exciting. I think we have a huge opportunity in that e-mobility field.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sebastian, for sharing your insights with us on Future Fuel, and we look forward to continuing to work with you in the coming years.
Thanks a lot, EJ, and thanks a lot to the whole Future Energy Ventures team.
Thank you.